1969 was the year of the bridge. For months and months we had suffered pile driving, dirt, dust, traffic diversions, traffic hold-ups. You name it, we'd had it. We decided therefore that what we required was a fortnight of peace and quietness, and what better place to find it than on a river. We left Prestwich at about 7 o'clock on Saturday, June the 21st, taking it quite steadily through Derby and onto the M1. Here we had breakfast on the motorway at one of the service centres. We had plenty of time, so we carried on then down the motorway through to Slough and on to Windsor. And at Willow Marina, just outside Windsor, we had hired this 6-berth cruiser. We stowed all our kit, and after about 10 minutes trial run up the river, where we very quickly got the hang of it, we started off. Here's Joan loading the kit, and within the space of about quarter of an hour we were into Bray Lock, and this was the first time we'd ever negotiated a lock in our lives, but we managed quite well. Through the lock and on to Marlow, where we spent Saturday night. We quickly decided that this was definitely the life for us. Beautiful scenery. And at Marlow there was a regatta running. And there was a carnival, and we had quite a jolly night here. There was hundreds of people watching the regatta and the carnival. And here's Graham and Leslie mooring the boat for the night. We found that wildlife was abundant on the river. And this amused us right the way through the holiday. Sunday saw us on our way to Henley. This is Hurley Lock, where we spent a considerable time watching different river cruisers coming in. This was a beauty. And the occupants were as well dressed as the boat. We reckon this launch must have cost somewhere in the region of 20 to 30,000 quid. There was all sorts of river craft here, some hired, some private. But it was a very interesting lock, and the backwaters were very quaint and quite picturesque. Mind you don't bang the side. We spent Sunday night in Henley, but on Monday morning we found that the sky was overcast. So we did a bit of shopping, and about midday we started on our way to Reading. It was raining here. Through the lock at Sonning, and then Graham decided he'd have a swim. He assured us that it was quite warm. But when he got out he was quite pleased to have a bucket of warm water for his head. On our way once again into Reading. The sky was very overcast here, but this didn't deter us at all. We had a fortnight holiday in front of us. I don't think this is Leslie playing. Quite a number of fishermen on the side of the bank. And on Monday morning we awoke to beautiful weather, and here's a swan doing a bit of deep river fishing. But he soon packed that up and came scavenging off us. It was easier. What a neck. We had quite a bit of condensation in the boat that night, and here we are drying off all the blankets, giving them an airing. Whilst that was going on, I took a look round onto the swings and the roundabouts, and here's a kiddie enjoying herself. On our way once again up this beautiful river. Craft of all types. This is Betty enjoying herself. And this developed into a game of chicken. We moored up on the side of the river. Graham jumped aboard, and then it was up to everybody else to try and do the same. But I'm afraid that I gave up the job. There's one casualty. Hook it out, dry it off. Right, here we go. No. No, no, let's get the stockings off and we'll wade in. Up. Give us a lift, Mike. Graham having another swim. Through another lock, and here we stayed one noon for a drink at the Roebuck Hotel. Mike taking a turn at steering. While Joan caught up with a bit of sleep. We're all in happy mood this noon. We'd had a few too many sherries, I think. This is another place we stayed at for a drink. Could we have the menu, please? Oh yes, I hope for future use. Sorry, we're booked up tonight. Anyway, we'll have a bottle of Guinness and a brown stout and a pint of bitter for Mike. We had all our sanitary arrangements to take care of. There was no sewage allowed to be thrown in the water. So this had to be dropped in at various sanitary stations on the route. Another midday drink. And here's Herr Capitan coming ashore. On our way once more up the river. And through Sutton Courtenay we cut back into the backwaters and spent an hour at this lovely village of Sutton Courtenay. Meanwhile, back in the boat, more river craft. And round about 5 o'clock on the Wednesday, we pulled into Abingdon. We spent the evening here. This was the public towpath at Abingdon. Very beautiful little spot. Restaurant the other side of the bridge. Thursday morning we left Mike to fill up the boat with drinking water. And we were off on our way to Oxford. This was some dogs we saw as we passed by a private house here. They were really enjoying themselves. Houseboats galore on the way to Oxford. Bit of dredging operations, and we turn right round in a complete circle here. And these are the college boat houses at Oxford. And one of the cricket fields. More boat houses. We moored up here on the towpath. Leslie said she'd give us a tune. More swans to feed. That's where all our bread went. And then Leslie and Mike decided they'd take a boat for the afternoon. All sorts of boats mucking about on the river. Oxford is a beautiful little spot. some of the college rowing team practicing. And then on Friday we did a tour of the universities. And this is the entrance to Christ Church College. This is the dining hall, rather dark and dismal. I'm fairly lucky even to get this out. Views of the college. This is the party that made up the little tour of the colleges. Very, very interesting. This place is absolutely seething in history. And these are deterrents to stop the students climbing in after hours. Glass on top of the walls, spikes on top of the drain pipes. But we were told that this even doesn't stop them coming in. Examinations were taking place when we were there, so we weren't able to get all round the universities. This is Radcliffe Camera Tower. And these are the students coming out from their exams. Best of British luck. The entrance to Brasenose College. And these are the examination rooms. All in Latin. And this is Blackwell's, one of the largest bookshops in England. And then we went in the University Church of St Mary the Virgin. Climbed the tower and we got this fantastic panorama of Oxford. These are the Twin Towers. And a view looking up the High Street, Magdalene College, Radcliffe Camera Tower, off we go again. This is Sandford Lock. This was quite a change because on the forward journey to Oxford, the water had been coming up in the locks. Now it was going down. And this was a very deep one. Bought some ice cream from the lock keeper. Leslie really enjoying herself. And we made our way then back to Wallingford. A very pretty little town that we'd stopped at one night on the forward journey. This was Wallingford on Saturday morning. Some of the boat houses. Meanwhile, back in the boat, off we go again, and another midday drink at the Beetle and Wedge. We filled up with water here and sat on this lovely lawn with a nice quiet drink. Graham rolling up his trousers to get the sun to him. Betty on a brown ale, Mike reading the paper. And this was a little visitor we had, digging for worms. This Alsatian thought he'd have a go at the swans, but by the time he brought up reinforcements, he thought twice. Betty washing her hair, and off we go again. And now we were making for Maidenhead and Windsor. Windsor. We moored at the side of the river here. And Monday afternoon we spent round Windsor Castle. view of the lawns and gardens. Very pretty, very picturesque. It was so very hot here. And here we had an accident with the camera. We got light in one of the cassettes, so this film is just slightly fogged. Betty and Joan been out for a bit of shopping Tuesday morning, and we were getting ready to get on our way up the river again. Give us a pull up. It was deadly, this thing was, to climb up. Right, 1, 2, 3. The water was quite clean to swim in. Mike decided to make a proper job of it and have us bath. Here's Joan with a pan of hot water for our hair. Oh, it's lovely. Meanwhile, still back in the boat, Now we're on our way to Hampton Palace Court. This is Sunbury Lock, just outside Weybridge, where we stayed the night. And still back in the boat, through another lock, and into Hampton Palace Court. The sun was belting down here, and it was extremely hot. The gardeners were complaining there wasn't enough rain. But everything looked in perfect ship-shape order to me. The flowers are beautiful. Here we are in the maze. Didn't take us long to get out of that. Some people said they'd been in it for hours. More flowers. Absolutely beautiful. Hydrangeas. But all things come to an end, and here we are back on our way to Windsor. Our holiday was beginning to draw to a close. But meanwhile, back in the boat, I don't know what I was saying to Joan here, what I was asking her to do. What for? Back to Windsor. Friday we stayed at Windsor all day because the boat had to be returned on Saturday morning by 10:30, so Mike decided to have a drink of tea. Saturday saw us on our way back home, and here we are having a look at Coventry Cathedral. There was a gala here in aid of the restoration and funds for the youth centre. This was the old Coventry Cathedral that had been completely gutted by incendiary bombs. 1940. We had a good look round the old cathedral and then into the new section, but unfortunately photography wasn't allowed. Still going on dancing here. This was the first cloud we'd seen for a fortnight. And this is the new cathedral. Very peaceful inside. Quite modern. Well worth a visit. And so unfortunately, our holiday is just about over. We take a last look at this lovely cathedral and the old altar in the old cathedral had been completely destroyed, and made our way home. And this was one of the best holidays we have had.